Okay, hi everyone, I'm Amelia Newcomb, and today I'm going to show you a few common mistakes that I see people make in the sitting trot. The sitting trot is something that everyone struggles with. I struggle with it. I think all riders struggle with it because when you're watching someone sit the trot, it looks really easy and fluid and everything, but when you're actually on the horse sitting the trot, it requires a lot of strength and flexibility and balance and really knowing which muscles to engage and then how to move with the horse. I'm going to show you first a few common mistakes I see people make and then how we can work on improving these. This is Mercurio and he is a PRE. He's 7 this year. So he is our demo horse for today. So first I'm going to start off with just a nice normal sitting trot, and Mercurio is a PRE, which PREs generally have a little bit of a smoother trot, which is nice. This is one of the reasons that a lot of amateurs like PREs and do really well with them, is that they're not as jarring as the warm bloods. Okay, so the first thing that I see riders do is that they try and sit still. Because when you watch someone sitting the trot, you think, well, they look like they're sitting really still. So let me show you what happens. If I sit still, this is what happens. Let me show you again as I go in front of the camera. So if I try and sit still, you see how my butt's bouncing, my hands are bouncing, and he kind of slows down and puts his head up like, what are you doing? So how to fix this? So to fix this, I need to actually move. So where am I moving? I'm moving in my hip. So my hip angle is moving. My lower spine is moving a little bit. My belly is moving a little bit. So I kind of feel like my belly's flopping. I'm also moving a little bit in my elbows. So as my seat is bouncing up and down with his motion, my elbows are a little bit moving. And then you also see I have a little bit of motion in my ankles because my ankles are also absorbing the motion of the trot. So that's the most important thing to realize, is that in sitting trot, you're actually moving a lot with the horse. You're not sitting still. Good boy. Okay, so the second mistake that I see people make in the sitting trot is that they crunch their legs up. So this is what a lot of people do. They kind of draw their legs up and grip with their lower leg. And you see how he sped up and got a bit tense. So a lot of riders too, like they'll actually lose their stirrup like that because when they sit, they tighten everything up and they draw their leg up, which is not what you want to do. So in the sitting trot, you want to think about your legs staying long and your heels going down to the ground. So every time he does a little bounce in the trot, my heels are going down, 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 down. My legs are staying long, and this is allowing my hips to move with him. You're a good boy. Good boy. So if you're finding yourself bouncing in the saddle, it's probably because either you're too stiff in your middle or you're drawing your legs up and tightening. Okay, now the other kind of common thing that I see riders do when they sit the trot, and I'm sure you've all seen this, is riders that do the head nod. And I actually had someone ask about this in the course. So I'm sure you've seen riders that kind of like do this when they sit the trot, like kind of like bobble their head around. So this is really not a good thing to do. It's really not good for your neck. But often if you find that your head is bouncing around, again, it's because you may have tightness in your lower back and in your hips, which is causing you to want to absorb the shock through your head instead of through your hips. You're a good boy. Okay, so another common mistake that I see people make in the sitting trot is that they slow their horse way down in order to sit the trot. So let me show you. I'll demonstrate this to you. So it's important that when you sit the trot that you don't take away your horse's trot. So I'm gonna get just a nice working trot going here on the circle. And if you're going from rising trot to sitting trot, you have to kind of be ready to sit a big forward trot in double time. So what do I mean by that? So here I'm going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now when I sit the trot, it's gonna be bounce, 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 bounce. And my horse is staying in that nice forward trot. So here's what most riders do. They have this nice forward rising trot going and say, okay, I need to sit the trot and I want to canter. So this is what most people do, is they sit, they don't go with the motion, and they get the horse's trot really, really slow, and then they try and pick up the canter from that, and they get some kind of a tight transition. He did it actually really well. You're a good boy. So instead, what you need to do is say you're posting the trot, you've got a nice forward trot. Now if I'm going to sit the trot, I have to kind of psych myself up to sit in double time and sit this big trot. So sit, 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 sit. Keep that trot, really move my hips and go with the motion, because you do not want to diminish the quality of your horse's trot in order to sit it. Good boy. Okay, so a great way, if you're still having trouble sitting the trot, to me, the best way to work on it is quality over quantity. So I'd rather have, 10 steps of really good sitting trot than to try and sit the trot and just be bouncing on your horse's back and have them hollow and bracing in your hand, because that's not healthy for the horse's back. So one of the best ways to work on the sitting trot, in my opinion, is to work on it from the walk, to pick up sitting trot from the walk. So this is easier than doing it from rising trot, because your seat is in the saddle, so you don't have to get the timing right of when to sit in the saddle. So I'm just gonna pick up here sitting trot, and then I'm really gonna get a forward trot. I'm gonna sit with him, but when I feel like I'm gonna start getting tired, then I'm gonna make a transition nice and round, slowly back to walk. So again, you notice that my horse is round. So it's really important before you try to sit the trot that you have your horse on the bit. If your horse is not on the bit and their head is up and their back is down and they're hollow, there's no point in sitting the trot, because, it's okay, buddy. There's no point in sitting the trot until your horse is on the bit, because they're not going to be able to carry you properly and they're not going to be developing the right muscles. So again, a great way to start introducing little bits of sitting trot is to just play the little game of walking, have a nice walk, and then picking up that sitting trot. And again, I'm really focusing on my middle, like right here, that I'm moving with the horse, that my legs are staying long, that my toes are staying forward, that my hands are staying right with him, that I'm not bouncing my hands up and down, and that I'm just moving in perfect harmony with his motion. Good boy. So let me know what other tips you guys use that have helped you with the sitting trot. There's also lots of exercises that you can do when you're not mounted to work on your core strength, and I will link in a few videos or clips that I have on that. But again, your fitness when you're off the horse is really important to consider if you want to improve your sitting trot. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to comment and sign up for my email list, and thanks for watching.